I would think so.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Councilor Lasari.
Can you give us the average amount that is cost you for all these searches? Is there actual
Just
money
advertise
at some point?
Advertising cost.
That's it. And how much?
I think ICMA is fairly expensive. I want to say it's $750 maybe. I want to say we probably spent maybe $2,500 on advertising.
Oh, that was it? That was the only cost
Yeah.
that cost you? Thank you.
I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer. I just thought I'd throw that out as a possibility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Discussion? Anybody?
Right.
Yes.
My opinion, and take it for what it's worth, we've used a search firm the last time. It didn't work out, but like Commissioner Barrett said, it's 50% of it's luck. And I have a hard time spending $30,000 or $20,000 on luck. So I really think we should consider doing it with a board and using Primex, like he suggested. That's my opinion. I mean, it costs us an awful lot of money to get rid of the previous city manager, and I don't feel it's my responsibility as a councilor to try to save the taxpayers' money, and that we should try to do this ourselves.
So if that's the direction people are leaning, there's a couple of, oh, go ahead.
So I would still disagree. It does sound like there are great resources there, but I'm a realist, and we can't decide on shit here, honestly. None of us together as a team, as a group. We've done nothing. My personal opinion. So I can't imagine using a resource that gives us kind of an outline of a guide of what to do, and all of us coming to the same conclusion of how we're going to do it. If y'all think logically, do you think we're going to be able to cohesively work together as a group to actually get this done in a timely manner and not fight about every little freaking thing? Because I certainly don't. We spend so much time here bickering about stuff, I can't imagine this actually functioning. And that is why I think we need someone to hold our hand who's done this before and say, this is what you need, this is how you do it, let us do it for you, make your decision. My personal
Councilor
opinion.
Stone.
Well, let me start off by saying that this council is ultimately responsible for hiring and firing the city manager. And if you don't think you're capable of doing that, then maybe you shouldn't be sitting up here on this bench.
Okay, let's.
Not at all what I'm saying. I say, I don't think as a team we can. I think we need help. We need professionals. That's what
Well,
I'm saying.
Primex is a professional agency.
I agree, but they're not going to send somebody here to walk us through each process. They're
Actually,
going to
I
give
believe
us
they will.
tools, which is great. But I don't think any of us, we can't even get everybody here to talk about this.
Now, this is a rarity. Since we've been sitting, I haven't seen too many absences at this
Mayor,
level.
point of order. I don't think this is a debate. I think I have something to say, and I don't think we should be going back and forth.
It's a discussion. It is back and forth. But it's absolutely, go ahead and tell what you want to say. Sorry.
It's up to the mayor, because I just
Well, first, Councilor Zullo had his hand up, then we'll go to you.
That just my opinion is at the end of the day, we have to make the decision on who we're going to hire or not hire. So we have to make that decision anyway. So we're going to spend $20,000 for them to say, these are your three candidates, pick one. And then we're going to, as you'd say, bicker back and forth about it, which we could save $20,000 and just do that the whole way through it. That's my opinion.
Councilor O'Hearn.
I think that we are capable of handling it ourselves. We're all adults here, and we're all focusing on hiring a city manager. I don't think that we need people to hold our hands. I think that we are able to do things ourselves. I have a problem with even the administration holding our hands and directing us down a certain trail. So we are the governing body. We can decide it. I think that we have enough people up here with some different forms of experience. Now, I'll throw mine out there. You know, come from a law enforcement background. I have the ability to do background investigations and ask questions that would get through that. You know, and other people, again, like, you know, your experience, but we have the ability to do certain things ourselves. And, you know, to give you an example, you know, you have over at the police department, you know, the chief will usually put out the applications, bring in the people, but again, the police commissioners are the ultimate deciders. They do their interview and decide whether or not they're going to hire this officer or not. Basically, what we're doing here. You know, if they can do it there, they can do it at the fire department. I think we can try this and do it and accomplish it. I just don't think that, you know, throwing money just to have a 2-year doesn't mean we're going to get the person we want. And again, as I said before, is that everybody we've hired lately has been New England-wise. And if we get somebody from out of, you know, the last person that previous council from Seattle didn't want to come for whatever reason it was. So that's my view.
Councilor Sark?
At the last meeting, I said we should try to change our way of doing things. Well, this is a great opportunity, and I think give us a chance to start working together so that we can solve this situation. We can't spend all that kind of money. I agree with Councilor Zullo. We just don't even have it in the budget. We can't afford it. We've got to change our way of thinking. So I'm all for giving us a chance to see if we can prove ourselves, working together and putting our heads together. Maybe it's a great opportunity to do that. So that's my feeling.
Councilor Kier?
I guess I just have a little bit of a hard time with everybody saying so much money. And I'm not trying to say it's not a lot of money. But in a $17.5 million budget, $20,000 is a drop in the bucket when you're talking about quality work of professionals who can help us with something. So I do have a hard time when people are saying this is so much money. It is a large amount of money, and I'm not just saying we should throw money around, but I think this is a worthwhile investment in the future of our city to get a qualified person here for people who... They're going to give us 3 candidates, but they're not just going to be like, here, figure it out. She's literally talking about how she's going to stand here and go through it with us and help us figure out each pro and con. Like, that's amazing quality work from somebody who has a plethora of experience. They've done 48 of these searches in 14 states. They've worked in, 42 states overall. Like, I don't think that we can just discount that kind of quality in what we're looking for.
Councilor Stone?
I handed every counselor who was in attendance tonight the job manager posting for Wolfboro, New Hampshire. The reason I handed that to you is so you could take a look at it and realize that their town, they have 5 on their Board of Selectmen. Their budget is $27 million, upwards towards $28 million. They're doing their search themselves as they were unhappy with MRI's last performance that they utilized for their city manager that they actually terminated around the same time as we terminated our city manager. They have a population normally of about 6,500, and during the summer it rises up to 14,000 people. Now, this is a community that has, you know, almost $10,000 more than we do. Excuse me, $10 million budget more than we do. And they're handling it themselves because they were unhappy with a professional MRI city manager search that they had last time, and they terminated that city manager. I believe the official date was in March, but it might have gone to February. That shows that if a community that small, who has a bigger budget than us, they have as much population 6 months out of the year, can handle it. I don't see why we can't handle it.
They also have more staff, I think.
Wolfboro, New Hampshire?
Well, I'm saying to help them. Mr. McLean sat there last week and told us that they don't have the bandwidth to help us with a search. They don't have the personnel to help us.
That's why they have a subcommittee. That's what I was told today by their clerk, who the Board of Selectmen have established their own subcommittee to spearhead their city manager search themselves this time. And they've advertised locally, and they also, I believe, said they utilized New Hampshire Municipal Association to also advertise for them as well. So we've got Primex, we have the New Hampshire Municipal Association. There's a lot of avenues that you can still advertise nationally with online. You have online Indeed, you have various ones you can apply for. Put it out there for national net. If people want to apply, they're going to apply. They have the Boston Herald, Concord Monitor. In fact, that's where I found this one originally, was the Concord Monitor. They're paying their salary for their city managers between $90,000 and $120,000.
Yeah,
Get
that's
them
more
through
than
the
what we're
door.
gonna be paying.
Well, that hadn't been decided. How much?
Well, based on what our pay grades are, that's more than what we're gonna pay.
City manager's 110,000, right? Mm-hmm. City manager's 110.
And they go up to
15, I
120.
believe. And we as a council decide what the pay range is for hiring a city manager.
And who's gonna give us that data to figure that out?
Well, you can get that from NHMA, because they have stats on who gets paid what for different positions.
Aren't we gonna have to figure that out anyway, ourselves?
No, they would do it.
They would?
I believe that was part of theirs, wasn't it? Or maybe I'm wrong.
We set their budget.
No, we say, based on what the market bears.
Well, I thought they
and
would
what
do
we
comps
can
for us, they were saying.
afford.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It's not something that we couldn't do. But my concern is a couple of things. I'm not going to discount what Mr. McLean had said with the staff. That is a very important issue, because they have to focus on other things. If the majority of the council wants to go down the road of doing this ourselves, I want to hear who can commit the time to do it. Because we're not going to make this decision and then not have the people to do it. That's not right. So, and I know counselors are already asked to do a lot, and many of you have full-time jobs. So do you have the bandwidth to do this? And that's a fair question, because I'm telling you that if you don't have a company doing it, going through all of this effort, it's going to be constant calls with NHMA or ICMA or follow-up, and it's going to be time-consuming. And that's not even getting to the part where you have to interview. And you're going to need at least a subcommittee of 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who is able to do that? Because it's not one of those things that you can commit to, and then if something else comes up and, well, I'm sorry, I've got this. This is a priority for us. We have to get this done.
If we're so committed, we're going to do what it takes.
Right.
That's it. That's the bottom line.
We're looking at roughly a 90-day window, maybe a little more.
I can tell you, I put an awful lot of time into the past city manager search when we had a search committee. It's going to be 3 times that. And I need we need at least 3 people who can do it.
I think you had 3 that
Well, I know
volunteered
Scott
right
asked
there.
for 4 in that.
Huh?
In his email, he said that he would want 4 people to be on that.
You can't have an even number.
I'm just telling you what his email said.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
So
read that.
that's a good reminder. So, Councilor Klosky couldn't be with us tonight. He said, I'm for whatever approach gives us national reach and keeps small group from making the hands-on choice. So that's what he said. And then Scott said, or Councilor Pope said, he's home ill. I would be in favor of either the full search or the hybrid model, but lean more to the full search model. The full search will
I think that's supposed to be take.
take added duties off of city staff as we start to go through the budget process in the near future. I believe it is important to hold off on he's talking about a citizens committee. We're not there yet. We have to figure out which process we're going to use. He's talking about committees.
The last one is the
Search,
the city council
Manager Steering Committee.
Yeah. So I think that's what he was talking about needing.
I would also like to suggest that the council review the membership of the council city manager steering committee to include 4 members if this has not been done already. Though those who are doing it already are doing a good job, to be fair.
I think that's the confusion of that Alan thing.
Okay. So, that's really what we're down to. Mr. Osgood?
Bill Osgood, Ward 1. Commissioner Barrett is pretty community-oriented, and he just took the time to come down here and explain the process. I'm kind of thinking, I'm sorry he left, I'm kind of thinking he might even volunteer some of his time if you were to choose to, and I would hope that you would, put some community members on this committee. Sounds like he would be a pretty valuable committee member if he were to accept it. I think he would, because he is community-minded, and I think he'd make the time to do that. Thank you. Thank you.
I would also just note that all of us got an email from a citizen, Tom Rock, about his thoughts on this as well, which seemed to be in favor of using a firm with experience. I had some email exchanges with him, and he just wanted me to reiterate that he felt that was important.
So let me make a suggestion, since we are meeting tomorrow night, between tonight and tomorrow. I know Assistant Mayor Dameron had already talked to Primex, and there were some tools that they could assist us with. But between now and tomorrow, I can speak to Primex as a follow-on to that discussion, Commissioner Barrett, Mr. McLean, because they're all resources that we would have to rely on if we were to go down the road that I hear many of you going down.
My question would be, why would we have to rely on the acting city manager, Mr. McLean?
If Primex says you need staff support, I want to be able to confirm that and say, this is what, if we go down this route with Primex being the resource that we're using, I want to hear from them, this is what you're going to have to do to make it work. And if it involves a lot of staff support, and he's saying to us, they just don't have the bandwidth because they're short in several departments, and we have to be realistic. I mean, it's one thing to say, this is what I want to do because, we want to save this amount of money. But if we don't have the resources in place to make that happen, then we're spinning our wheels. Yes.
If we do go down that road, and the council members need to understand that if they're going to try to get onto this, to represent the council, that they need to make the commitments very clearly to follow this through. Mm-hmm. And as you have said, it is very time-consuming. Mm-hmm. And those of us that have schedules that we can flex during the day, obviously it's going to be daytime hours. It needs to be people that can commit to it, follow through, be able to call different agencies, which, as you know, I make numerous calls to various agencies, and I know how complicated it is to wait for callback and phone tag. There are a lot of agencies that we can rely on to get us some technical information. Really, the advertisement's the big one. That's what we heard tonight. A lot was advertisement, and that's key to obviously getting the applications in. That's something that we could pick if we do a select, what do we want to call it, the Council City Manager Steering Committee. That's something we could make a day. People could come in, do what they need to do, just like a regular ad hoc committee, be established. I think Mr. Councilor Pope put in that he wanted to have a sunset, that once it's done, it's over with. That's not a problem. I'd say that if he recommended 3 to 4 council, I'm fine with that if we have 5 to 7 citizens on it as well. That way there's always, an odd number. Just something to keep in mind if that's the road we go down.
Just listen, if what Commissioner Barrett said sounded good to the council, then we would want to replicate that process as much as possible.
Yes.
Because he's saying that it worked, okay? So I didn't hear from him, and maybe I'm incorrect, but when he was talking about this group that's doing this, there wasn't a huge number, and there was peer representation, there was commissioner representation, and I believe there was, I don't know, do you remember if he said public or something?
The sheriff and the county attorney.
Yes, yes.
A lot of his department heads.
A lot of his department heads. So if we're going to go down that route, because we think this is what's worked so well, then let's just be clear on what that is before we vote, and be clear on the resources that it's going to take, and be clear on our ability to commit to that. And if we can't meet those, then we're going to have to do the other route. I don't see how. Otherwise,
No,
we're just going
I
to,
agree.
we're going to spend more time. And we just need to get it going.
I agree.
So if you guys are okay with me calling Primex, talking to Commissioner Barrett, and then having something prepared, because we do have on the agenda tomorrow night, city manager search update. That's what it'll be, and people will have to take a vote.
Sounds good.
Is that good? Okay. All right. And then between now and then, if you think of anything else that you want to add to the discussion, at least we'll be better prepared with this process. So now you have, out of all of the responses from the RFQ, this was our best one. There were things that people liked about it. The 2-year guarantee is a heck of a lot better than 1-year guarantee, because I know after this last experience, it's really hard to determine within 1 year, is somebody going to rise to meet the expectations of the governing body? You know, you have to give time for people to get used to the position. So 1 year is sometimes not enough, you know, to ascertain if things can be dealt with. Yes, Councilor Ahern.
But when she was talking about that, and she mentioned that there would be an added cost, a small cost, but above that, if somebody was to leave in the 2 years. Said
Just
it would be a cost because, not for the people, but for some other stuff.
advertisement
Expenses,
costs.
yeah.
Advertisement costs.
Which you'd have to pay for anyway if we were doing it ourselves and someone
Right.
left.
Right. And the other thing is, we'll have to be very careful if we go down this road that we understand. None of us have been in a city manager position, unless somebody has a different life that I don't know about. It's a unique position, and it is very difficult and challenging. And my concern would be if we don't have a search committee, a search company with those resources to kind of bounce things off of. How do we know the people that we see on paper and even in an interview are going to be able to handle the job? And I know there's ways to mitigate that, but that's I'm just sharing my concern. Yes, Councilor Zhu.
My only concern would be to counter that is we had a professional search firm and look what we ended up with the last time.
We're not going with that search firm.
No, I
Not everyone can
understand.
clump together.
No, I understand that, but we had the search firm to do all of that for us, and we still ended up with a failed situation. We could have a failed situation doing it ourselves. We could have a failed situation doing it with a search firm. Nobody can predict the future. I think my opinion is that we put our best effort forward, and I 100% agree with you on the fact that if we can't commit to the time or don't have counselors that can commit to the time restraints that it's going to take, or the time commitment that it's going to take, then we should go with a firm. I 100% agree with that. I honestly think if there's counselors on this council that are willing to put in the effort to save the city money, then that should be the route that we should go, if they can commit to the time. That's my opinion.
Okay. So we have a plan. 24 hours, we'll know. We'll take a vote.
True.
So, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? So the motion was made by Councilor O'Hearn and seconded by Councilor Zullo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.